These places really are terrifying. I'm your host Youssef, and these are 10 scary places in Ohio you should never visit. Make sure you subscribe and ring that bell to get notified whenever we upload a new video. Anyways, let's get to it. Number 10. Moonville Tunnel. If you're out on a hike in the Zaleski State Forest in Ohio, you might encounter this normal looking bridge, or so it seems. Built in 1856, this tunnel was created for a railroad to transport coal around the state, and at that time, it was the only way to go in and out of the town of Moonville. Although the tunnel served its function and is still up to this day, the one fatal flaw about it was the limiting space it offered to the pedestrians walking through. Basically, when a train would pass through the tunnel, it would give little to no space at all for people to walk through, and you could see how this could be detrimental considering it was the only way in and out of the town. Over the years, many unfortunate people would be struck by the train while walking through this tunnel, and many of the bodies were buried in the surrounding forests. By 1947, the town of Moonville was eventually abandoned, but this place still remains a hiking spot for many. Number 9. Abandoned subway. Cincinnati, Ohio actually has a subway station, and after years of construction it would never become operational, and now it just sits under the city abandoned. Much of the reasons for its closure was due to the stock market crash in the 1920s and the depression that hit in the 30s. The city didn't know what to do with the place, so they tried to give tours, but eventually conditions of the subway would make it too dangerous for anyone to enter. Many urban explorers and paranormal investigators have found their way to this subway system, and many come back saying that this place is filled with various spirits. Some of the reports include hearing footsteps in the dark and moving shadows. Others have claimed to be chased out of the tunnels, but many think it's just homeless people. Regardless, you are not bound to have a good time if you decide to enter these abandoned tracks. Number 8. Melonhead Road. In Kirtland, Ohio, sometime in the 1970s, there were multiple reports of creatures with huge bald heads who would stalk this road and the woods of northeast Ohio. Many people claim that these creatures are the product of failed government testing on humans, which they tried to hide from the public. But it seems like they didn't do a good job of hiding, since they are still reported around the area. Others believed that melonheads are the product of failed experiments from a man named Dr. Crow. It was said that Dr. Crow either made a deal with the local mental hospital or kidnapped patients. He would do experiments on those with deformed or misshapen heads in hopes to minimize the size, but after his doing multiple lobotomies, their heads would grow to extreme sizes, giving them the name melonheads. Number 7. Twin City Opera House. In the middle of McConnellsville is the infamous theater known as the Twin City Opera House. It was built in 1892 and serves the same purpose as it did in the beginning, which was supposed to be both a theater and government office. Much of the paranormal activity in this building is found in the basement, where there are multiple reports of black shadows that appear from the grounds and walls. Back in the 1920s, a man was executed in the basement, which many believe is still there. However, the most infamous ghost is the ghost of an usher who used to work there. He would occasionally walk up to people only to say nothing and just stare, so you could only imagine how awkward this encounter would be until you realize it was a ghost the whole time. Number 6. Walhalla Road. Located in Columbus, Ohio is the infamous Walhalla Road. Not infamous for anything good, but for reasons that will make you avoid this road at all costs. One legend of the road goes that in the 1950s there was once a man named Dr. Mooney who lived here alongside his wife and offspring. They were a pretty normal family until the man started to show more and more signs of insanity every day. Then one day he snapped and supposedly ended his wife and all his offspring and let them on the side of the road. Number 5. Rogues Hollow. A few miles southwest of Akron is a former mining town known as Rogues Hollow, and from the name you will see why it's Ohio's own version of Sleepy Hollow. Now, like many rural areas in the state, Rogues Hollow is a perfect place to hike, eat, and see nature, but it's recommended that you do all these things in the day and not in the night. In 1957, a local named Russell Frey wrote about the area saying, quote, "Ghosts are best seen in the hollow on a moonlit night when they are at large. Ghosts are best seen in the hollow on a moonlit night when there are large fleecy clouds overhead. Then the hollow fairly comes alive with the residents of the spirit world. It's said that you can see more as twilight turns to pitch blackness of the night. Then you can see nooks and crannies with shadowy forms on the move. There's much to see here." Number 4. Satan's Hollow. You won't find it on a map and you can't see it from the road, but beyond the woods in a quiet blue ash community, some say exists a portal to hell, nicknamed Satan's Hollow. Being part of an old sewage system, the tunnels are said to be haunted by a shadow man and other angry spirits. And supernatural markings are seen all over the tunnel walls. According to popular belief, Satanists used to use the tunnel system as their headquarters, mainly to get around in secrecy, and deep inside the tunnels are a supposed altar room where they would commit violent rituals including sacrificing animals and even some humans. The point of sacrificing humans was to summon Lucifer the devil, and many believe they succeeded, which is why the tunnels are now left abandoned. Over the years, several ghost hunters and paranormal investigators have visited this site, claiming to have communicated with spirits, but have warned not to visit the area since the area is the new hotspot for spirits. Number 3. The Defiance Werewolf. In the summer of 1972, the people of Defiance, Ohio were claiming they were being terrorized by a lone werewolf. The sightings of this werewolf would be typically at nights nearby the railroad tracks. The beast was reported to be 7 to 9 feet tall, very hairy, and wielding a club. It said that 2 men who were working on the tracks at night, one of the 2 men, Ted Davis, would report to police that he was attacked by a half-man, half-dog creature. He also reported that the creature attacked him with a club other than claws, which was very odd due to his description of the creature. Multiple railroad workers would also report similar encounters at night, as well as a couple of women said it even tried to get into their houses by rattling the doorknobs. Luckily for the locals, after the summer, the beast almost seemed to vanish out of existence, but the story still lingers and perhaps the werewolf is still out there hiding. Number 2. Helltown, Ohio. Boston Mills, now known as Helltown, was bought out by the US government to make way for the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. However, rumor has it that this town was closed down because of an accidental chemical leak, causing citizens to mutate. To this day, the town remains completely abandoned. However, people who visit the area have reported seeing many disfigured, mutated people hiding throughout the area. And to make matters worse, apparently there is a satanic church located at the town center. In this church are said to be mutated people who kidnap and sacrifice outsiders. The area is littered with even more dark legends, including an old abandoned school bus where a series of incidents took place. It said that if you peek into the windows, you can either see the ghost of people or the ender behind it all. Number 1. Athens Asylum. This mental asylum stood from 1874 to up until 1993. However, some pretty scary stuff occurred within those walls. Patients were mistreated, physically abused, not fed, strapped to their beds, and even lobotomized, which was basically brain surgery before we knew how to do proper brain surgery, which caused many patients to suffer from life-changing side effects and disabilities. One particular patient, named Margaret Schilling, went missing in 1979 for 42 days. Her corpse would be later found in an abandoned area in the hospital. The odd thing was that her body was found naked with her clothes folded neatly beside her, and it began rotting so bad that it left a permanent stain behind that could still be seen to this day. With witnesses saying that they saw her ghost trying to leave the room she was stuck in, with the acts of horror and mistreatment that went on in this asylum, it's no wonder the ghosts of the abused patients still linger in the building. Thanks for watching. Those were 10 scary places in Ohio you should never visit. Leave a like and comment if you think we missed anything, and we hope you have a scary day.